Welcome back to another episode or another stream of Drawn Comics, where I'm going to be drawing John Buscema's Conan the Barbarian. I'm going to be learning a lot from this amazing artist, how he creates the panels, the kind of mood that he creates with the angles, the face expressions. And here's just an example. This one we've done before. It's a great panel. I really love the expression here and all the little lines that give him more character. It's a great panel right here. The goal is to draw all the panels and pay attention to as much detail as possible. So we've covered these panels right here. These 3 panels, including this one, which makes it 4. And today, I'll be taking on this panel right here. Hopefully, I can get to 2 and do both of these in one stream, but we'll see as it progresses. So I'm going to start off by using the ruler, and I kind of want to stick to the same size as the other panels. So let's just measure this out. So the base of each panel. Uh-oh, just a little tilted there. So as always, we're going to do a light sketch here. I'm going to leave some space for the text at the top. And that's relatively easy. You could just compare the line that you're making to the top line of the frame to make sure that it's parallel. Get a straight line there. And then from there, we're just going to do a light sketch of big shapes that we see here. So in this case, you can see right here, it's kind of like a cone shape. That's like the biggest shape. And then we're going to do like a rectangle shape for here. We're keeping the distance between a helmet and the text frame in mind, just to see how far away this the shape should be from there. And that kind of helps to make sure that everything is going to be drawn out properly. The guy in the back is kind of poking his head out. Trying to fit himself into the frame. So I like the general shapes out. Set ourselves a limit. From here, we could define those limits a little bit more. I find this technique to be helpful because it ensures that everything fits into the frame, and that's something that even if you're not copying and you're doing from like your imagination, you can also use to make sure. As I mentioned, like plenty of times in all the streams, you don't want to get caught in the detail and then find out like, oh, it doesn't even fit in the frame anymore. And now all this detail either has to be erased or you have to find different ways of trying to fit it all in. And this process eliminates that kind of, it definitely helps, that's for sure. And if you do make a mistake, it's easier to erase. You haven't spent all that time, all that dedication. You're able to quickly adjust it. And so far so good. It seems like most of it fits. Still keeping it kind of light. Don't want to get way too much in the detail. Just lightly sketching out forms, shapes, and adjusting them from there. Got this long shadow. To be honest, I'm not really sure what that shadow is, actually. If you're looking at the panel, like, and I'll show you guys right here, like, what exactly is this? Is this just like another guy in robes, and it's just really blocked off by this guy, and that's why it's all black? I'm not really sure. I thought it was like casting the shadow on the sky, but it doesn't really make sense. Anyways, just gonna draw it. And I'm gonna say it's another robed guy. So now I'm just kind of putting in the details more that I see that everything kind of fits in within a frame. And I think that it is a relatively easy panel just because you're not really going into much like anatomical detail. You know, these are cone shapes. You just have to pay attention to the external lines of the cones. Really, this panel is more about just the relationship between objects than it is about like anatomy and all that other stuff. So it's good practice when it comes to that. Space recognition, that tool is incredibly useful. You got a bit of a 2-point perspective here. We got bricks going this direction, and then we got bricks going that direction. But there aren't even that many to like show this 2-point perspective. It's just a subtle hint that this is the corner right here. And honestly, because this is more of an easy panel, I want to get it down as much as possible, as accurately as possible. It's almost like no excuse. And the composition is really interesting too. It's not like he's really going into detail and drawing like every single brick and making sure they're all right and stuff. It's just kind of there to fill up the space of the panel. So sometimes when you think it's not much, it's actually very calculated. It kind of brings everything together and fills up empty space. Otherwise, you just leave parts of the panel looking kind of naked, and I don't know, it takes away from the fun. I like the little particles that he also includes there. So this part of the panel is pretty much the only part that has to deal with like anatomy and face and stuff. But since we kind of gave ourselves limits here, it's easier to tackle. The hardest part is like the tiny little details. For the eyes, for example, you don't want to make that too big or too small. And it really does make a world of a difference. Whether he's gonna have like a grumpy look or not. Time to zoom in a little bit. The real challenge is gonna come in when I have to like ink this. All these like tiny little details. I'm already not satisfied with this. And this is where this amazing eraser comes to the rescue. I made that part of the helmet a little too thick. And this is like a perfect example of why it's bad to press hard. Because the next time you try to do like corrections, the pencil kind of just falls into the groove of that hard line that you made previously, and you're fighting it, trying to get it right. Third time's the charm. Can we do it this time? Like, even though it's so small, there's still expression there that I just can't nail. Guy in the background has a little bit of a frustrated look, trying to capture that. Kind of making this all very difficult for myself by drawing it on such a small pad, but I have a goal of filling up all the pages and completing this drawing pad in that format. Just making sure every page is drawn on and nothing is wasted. Making up for all the pads that I have where I just completely wasted every page. I might have mentioned this in the previous streams. I just look through them and it's ridiculous. I would draw like one face, and it's a much bigger pad than this. The size of them are much bigger than this. And it would be like just one thing. Like a face, I didn't like it. I wouldn't even erase it. I'll just move on to the next page and try to draw the same thing there. It was just awful. Bad decision there. So this is just not falling into that trap again. And there's a part of me that thinks that drawing in these tiny little details just improves my hand-eye coordination and precision. If I could draw these... Excuse me. If I could draw these tiny little details when it comes to bigger size paper, it will be less of a problem. And I'll have even more control over the medium. And I really do enjoy how the pencil feels, like just having to draw digitally. I can tell the difference between these mediums, and I really enjoy this. The fingers on this guy are so weird in the original panel. And I'm gonna draw them just as weird. They might look weird, but they're expressive. I think even in the original one, they're more expressive than this. I think mine tend to focus a little bit more on getting the anatomy proper. It's also about, this panel is really about getting angles right as well. It's not just shapes. And the recognizing the space between objects part. It's also about making sure that the angles that you're making, the angles of your lines, are correct. I'm satisfied with this for now. I would like to move on to the next panel, which is going to be this one right here. I'm pretty sure you can still see it. And this is going to be even more of a narrow panel. I might have to come back later and draw something in this space right here. Like, I don't know, practice some hands. Just to stick to the goal of filling up the page as much as possible. Trying to freehand it here. It's just taking too long. Is it really that narrow? I don't know. I want to expand it a little bit more. It's not too late. I didn't press too hard. So we got the text here. It seems like it's a lot more than the previous panel that we were working on. And by we, I mean me and you. I like to make you guys feel as if that you're part of the process as well. Because you guys definitely are. Otherwise, I would not be doing this. Streaming, that's. So this is another panel where it's more about like just general shapes and recognizing the distance between objects. For example, this doorway, how far away is it from the pillar? How far is the other side of the doorway to the frame? And now we're just gonna draw some quick cones, because that's what we're seeing here. That's what I'm seeing. I'm just seeing a bunch of little cones next to each other. It's a little more difficult with this one to draw general shapes because, I mean, I guess the general shape would be this, right? The exterior of all of these guys huddled together. One big face here. As you guys can see, I'm kind of like dancing on a paper, trying to form limits for each character on page, or each shape on page. Another medium small sized face here. And another face here. This is gonna be challenging. This one is tiny. Still could see his face features. It's just really small. I'm actually surprised at how much I do enjoy the music that's on Pretzel. Like, I am enjoying the beats and how chillaxed it is. I thought it would be a lot more generic. But I will say this, I don't recommend using the browser form of Pretzel. If you're streaming, especially. I'm gonna say it's a huge system hog. In addition to like OBS and other apps you might have running while you're streaming, it's just not it's not the best. I think just like the app itself, just downloading the app is pretty good. But I'm still kind of trying to figure that out, to be honest. The best setup with the least amount of system hogging. Getting caught up in detail. Don't want to do that just yet. I'll say this though, I am pretty excited about tonight's stream. I've been getting pretty good results for my personal project that I'm working on, and it's on the way of being finished. Now, I did mention last week that I would be making some announcements, but I'm gonna hold off for a little bit. Stay tuned. You guys can check out the social media. Twitter, I think I'll be updating Twitter as far as like, what's going on text-wise, and the other social media I just kind of use for images, and I'll be uploading just content that's on the stream. But for Twitter, I'm gonna be posting things like text updates on what's going on, what to expect and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the news for now. But I will be making some updates soon. not happy with this gentleman's eye and how it turned out. Hopefully, I didn't press it too hard. Not everything that comes out of pretzel is a gem, but for the most part, I think I really do enjoy it. I can skip this song because I'm not really... Yeah, why don't we just do that? I think at this point it's pretty safe to go into detail. I've got everything sketched out. Pretty happy with where they are on the page. Or in the panel, rather. I do want to finish this panel, guys, but unfortunately I do have to cut the stream for today. Comes to drawing comics. I will be back later on today at 8 o'clock Eastern to stream my personal project, which is going to be pretty great as well. So stick around, guys. Tune in then. Check out the social media. Write any questions and comments you got, and I'll write you back. If you enjoy this content, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next stream.